The Psi Energizer strategy is definitely one of the coolest that you can pull off in Chimps mode, so I'm going to be taking it here on Sanctuary, and I'm going to be trying to optimize it up a little bit, which is a pretty difficult thing to do at times for this one reason. It's fairly easy if you have like a whole setup and all of that, like you use your money and you have like some expensive towers added to after you get the Energizer, but trying to optimize it really makes things difficult for a few reasons, which you'll see later, but still nonetheless it was a really fun strategy, and it's super satisfying too, especially when the level 20 Psi comes up and just completely nukes out everything. So I'm going to be doing this early game here. This isn't actually super optimal because I don't need Psi and Energizer down that fast. I can get Psi and Energizer, well, Psi in round 14 and Energizer on round 63 on this map with the same strategy that I'm using, but you actually don't really need Psi down until like 15 and Energizer by like 67 or in order to get this to work, because either way in between that time span you'll be getting level 20 on 94, so it's not like having it earlier will do anything. So just before at least round 67 I believe is, I got it on 65 here, so it was nothing too crazy. So I get Psi down, and then I'm going to be going for the Dartling Gunner. I'm going to be pairing it here with a Bads because this is going to be allowing me to get the Energizer before a decent amount of time, and then I'm also going to be using that Bads to do a few different things. It's going to clean up, it's going to pop up some DDTs, obviously do the save up, and it's also going to do some round 100 damage because I will be missing a little bit of round 100 damage. You can use the Energizer to pull off 2 first strikes with your 1 first strike that you have, but that isn't enough. That's 20,000 of the, I think it's like 28,000 something RB of the bad, so you still are going to need a little bit more, and a little bit more like a decent amount more, so a tower will need to be able to cover that too. That's running the rest of it. This early game though with the buckshot was very annoying. I got the reactor up there to be able to just deal with stuff while the Dartling Gunner was doing things. I'm going to need that for Energizer later, so it doesn't matter if I get that early. And then of course the buckshot is just going to be missing absolutely everything. These rounds are pretty annoying. It's just a very inconsistent tower. Like, it actually has really good damage. It has a lot of pierce, a lot of projectiles. You can put an alk buffet on it, it will go pretty crazy, but it's just inconsistent, and a lot of times pinks and yellows will just pass right through without an issue. So yeah, it just does that sometime, but eventually I'm going to be able to get the Bads, and then I can just go straight for the Energizer with this actually. So this recording right here this actually took me multiple attempts. It took a few tries to get this down. That usually doesn't happen, but this recording was from one of the earlier attempts, so there were like a few tiny little alterations with the final version of it. Nothing too crazy, but basically it's the same exact idea here, though it just goes to the late game where I mess up and this run ends, but then I'll segment to the newer one. I didn't record the early and mid game for that one, just like round 80 and on. But anyways, here you can see I got the super early Energizer. This is getting it for round 63, which isn't necessary to do, so I don't do that for the later run, but with that it's able to push straight through to the next stage, which is surviving until level 20 Psi. Again, this is a very weird and odd strategy. Other strategies don't really work like this, where there's like different areas where there's going to be hard points and then it gets easy and then it's going to be hard again. It's just totally unique, but that makes it really, really cool. It also kind of makes it difficult in some ways because it's so out of the way in many ways too, I guess. Kind of hard to explain. But from here, while I'm going for level 20 Psi, the Bads is just going to be doing a lot of good work. It's going to be pretty good in the mid game, so a lot of times for other strategies and other maps, this part's going to be a lot harder than how I had it here, but I'm just going to be saving up for the first strike, and I'll be using the first strike a lot just to be able to knock out a bunch of ZOMGs and do general damage too. You can use it to take out Moabs too with the splash if you can line up a good spot and enough Moabs around a singular BFB that's first. If not, it's always just going to target that, so it's going to just go to whatever's strongest. But with Energizer, it's going to be coming up twice as fast, so it actually can do some decent stuff. And then eventually Psy will be able to get the levels to be able to take out the BFBs and the Moabs, and then I'll just be using a lot of screams and a lot of stuns for Psy to slowly knock out everything. I'm going to be grabbing a Sabo 2 in the Moab glue. That's kind of just necessary to get some stuff. And then 81, I'm going to have to micro a little bit here on the Dartling Gunner, make sure things don't go in the wrong place, because if you have the Dartling Gunner on target independent, it's going to be like popping everything open. It's not nice. So I'm going to have to manually micro it a lot, and now Sai can be able to get BFBs too, which is nice. So everything here is going to be pretty chill until round 95, which is like the hardest round in this run by far. Everything after 95 is really easy, and in relative terms, every single round is very easy compared to 95 in this run. It's just like all the difficulty is kind of put in one round, so that's just something kind of crazy about it. 96 give you a little run for your money, but it's not that bad compared to 95. Now, when I was talking about how like optimizing this is crazy more difficult than like not, it's because of like the reason that I'm trying to get Psy to do everything, and Psy just really doesn't have the attack speed to do that, particularly on a short map. So you're gonna see like a lot of things, like I'll be moving the Dartling Gunner so Psy can exclusively attack sometimes, and other things like that. Those DDTs were a bit annoying, but now you can see like I'm starting to get a large amount of cash spare. I'll be ending with a pretty good amount, I'd say, at the end. But if you're able to get like, I don't know, like a Prince of Darkness, maybe a bit more, that could be able to consistently clean up what Psy isn't getting, that makes it a lot easier. And for black borders, if you can manage to get the Energizer out fast enough, and like you don't necessarily need to get it, you could still like hold 10k to be able to purchase the level 20 on round 95. That's at least when you need to have it, and then you can just nuke everything past there. Then it can work out pretty well, actually. Here's another really weird thing that I end up doing. The Energizer, even with drums and the cross path to make it shoot faster, pulse faster, it still will not camo the DDTs on the other side. So I have to get an AMD to get that Sabo to decamo them. That's the cheapest way to do it, which would allow the Dartling Gunner to then pop them, because you don't have level 20 by 93. 94 you get the level 20 though, and this is 95. So basically the hard thing about this is that I need to stall the rounds, and stalling rounds with level 20 Psy is basically impossible. So the way you manage to do that is using the abilities early. But the thing is that with all these DDTs, you can't really use the ability early. So this is the failed run. As you can see, the round just straight up died, and now I don't have the Psy Scream for 96. I end up actually am able to beat all of these rounds, but it ends up getting to me at the end, which you'll see. It was just a very crazy beating those rounds though. So I will eventually be able to Scream 96, as you can see, but the issue is that all of 96 dies and I can't stall. So I need to be able to stall a bit on 95 so I can stall a bit on 96, and then 97 just dies instantly. There's nothing you can do about that. So then you can get 99, and as you can see there, I wasn't able to use Scream on 99, which means I kind of have to use all my abilities, which ends up meaning I can't beat 100 because I don't actually get the first strike off. This was actually really close to working though, which was kind of crazy, but the first strike just doesn't come back in time. So it's time to rerun this, and the one thing I'm just gonna have to do is fix up around 95, and I'm gonna be changing things up a little bit. Instead of going for a second Sabo to be able to beat round 95, I'm gonna be going for a Snowstorm, which is a little bit more expensive than the Sabo, sadly, but it's going to be a lot safer, and doing it without is going to be very difficult. Also, what I did, it is possible to do it without it, it's also just a lot more difficult, is beating 95 with the drums on the bottom village compared to without. It's just something that I went for just to make things a little bit easier. So this isn't truly optimal. It is technically possible, but it's just so much RNG. It's kind of crazy. Anyways, here on 95, I use that ability really early, so a lot of stuff is coming out still. use that Snorm, and then I can use the first strike to kind of clear a bunch of stuff, and then I can stall this out. As you can see, those last Moabs are coming out, and I move the Dartling Gunner away. So now I can get the screen back here on round 96 and use it like so. All of that will go down, and then these last ZOMGs will get popped slowly, and then 97 disappears instantly. It's very weird just seeing 97 like not exist at all. And then on 98, I can use the ability, and then I'll get screen back for 99, and then this way I actually can survive and win. So yeah, it's very hectic and chaotic, like pulling this off with nothing, but it's a really cool strategy and very satisfying, specifically to watch the level 20 just destroy everything on the screen. And with some added towers, you definitely can get a black border, but 73k spare isn't that bad. Thanks for watching. If you want to help out the channel, you can check out these new videos, like and subscribe for more content, support the channel by becoming a member, and joining the Discord to chat with the community. Bye!